Hello there, my name is Martin Henley. This is the Effective Marketing Content Extravaganza, and if you're new here, you couldn't possibly know that I am on a mission to help you if you are looking to be more successful with your business. Providing, of course, what you need to be more successful with your business is to know more about and be implementing more efficiently, more enthusiastically, and more effectively sales and marketing in your business, which is, of course, what you need. You need more customers more profitably. That will give you the bigger invoices, the more profit, the nicer car, the nicer house, the nicer office, the nicer holidays, the nicer retirements, all the good things that you deserve because you are the heroes that are running your own businesses. So what goes on here is I'm here giving you everything I know about sales and marketing. That's the series that happens on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I pull in anyone I can find with experience to share that will be useful to you if you're looking to be more effective with your marketing. That's Talk Marketing on a Tuesday. Every other Wednesday, Melanie Farmer comes through and we look at the marketing news and speculate wildly what it might mean for you in your business, in your marketing life, in your marketing career. And on the other Wednesday, I review so you don't have to. On a Thursday, I'm here occasionally thinking out loud. And on a Friday, we react to the very best and the very worst of marketing content on the internet. So if that sounds interesting or useful, please tell me it does. We're only here to be interesting and useful. Why not take a second now to like, share, subscribe, and comment and get involved, because that will give us the motivation to continue on this epic journey. So if you are tuning in on the day that we go live, it will be a Friday, which means that we are reacting to the very best or the very worst of marketing content on the internet. And by we, I mean myself and the magnificent Andy Gwynn. Good morning, Andy Gwynn.
Morning, Martin. Great to be back again. Can't believe how fast time goes. Magnificent. Not been called that before, so thank you.
If you're not, well, I think you are magnificent. So I think you're overdue for being called magnificent. It is amazing how fast time goes. It is amazing how often I'm wearing this T-shirt when I record these reaction videos because people suspect that we might be recording like a number of them in one go and pretending like we're getting together regularly to do these things. But in this instance, we're definitely not, are we? We're definitely not doing that.
No, we were talking about it earlier. It's in my diary. And it is interesting how fast time goes because, and what happens in such short time, because I got some stuff to share that it'd be interesting to see whether it's relevant to the videos today. But no, hey man, I'm in southern Spain. It's your Friday T-shirt. That's all it is.
It's my Friday T-shirt. It's very red, this Friday T-shirt. This Friday T-shirt is actually overdue for being thrown away, is the truth. But Rip Curl are not sponsoring us, so yeah, maybe I should wear another T-shirt. We like to start with a boast. Do you have a boast for us? Is there something you've achieved that you think is worthy of airing? Yes.
Here's a quick one. Is it a boast? Years ago, I had a great coach, and he talked about quantum marketing, which is where when you visualize stuff happens. And he said, but you can't build your business on that. And I'm sure a lot of people know about visualization and affirmations. And there's a great book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And Mary and I were sat outside, and I said, we need to look through where our coaching clients have come from. And we just listed them and went, damn, there's more that have come from referral than I realized. We need some more referrals. And that moment, the phone rang. And I know exactly where I was sat outside, went in the house, answered it was a referral. But yesterday, I was angst in the night over clients, over sales, over marketing, over big to-do lists. And I just saw, I picture what I need to do in the morning and what I need in the way of clients. And I've got to follow this guy up who I think is not going to buy. And I get up, come down to my laptop, open the emails, and there's an email from this guy saying, yeah, can we book the final call? And then 2 or 3 other things happened. So it's one part of my strategy amongst other marketing strategies. Is it a boast? It's just a great reminder. Whether you believe it or not, I just say thank you because I believe in the connected energy.
100%. Yeah, gratitude. I think gratitude is good. I've not heard of quantum marketing before.
I think you made it up.
I think you probably did. He should have written a book. I think that sounds like the title of a book, doesn't it? Quantum marketing.
Well, I credit Steve Leach from Australia. Awesome guy.
Excellent. Okay, super cool. Well, I will look into him. Do I have a boast? My house is nearly finished, so the next time you and I talk, I might have a different backdrop, which is going to be interesting because I've designed this backdrop because I spend so much time sitting here making videos. So it'll be interesting to see if I can come up with something that I am equally happy with. So that's my boast. So we're not here to talk about referrals. We might be here to talk about referrals. We don't know. We're actually here to react to either the very worst or the very best of marketing content on the internet. We don't know, of course, for anyone who hasn't seen us do this before, what we're going to react to. There are a list of 6 things that Clay has put together for us. We call that the Clay list. So there is an element of jeopardy to this. We're going to roll a dice. It's going to give us a number between 1 and 6. We're going to pick the video that relates to that number, blah, 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 blah. This is the way we go. So one of us has to hum the theme tune to Jeopardy while we do this. And I think it's your turn, man.
I think it's got to be your turn because it takes, 21 attempts to remember something. I don't know the Jeopardy theme tune. I don't even know what you refer to. Is it a film or what?
Jeopardy is like the longest running American game show. It's the one where you have to answer the question. So they say, who is, I don't know if they say who is, normally they say what is. So what is an Englishman with a magnificent beard living in southern Spain? And the answer would be, who is Andy Gwynn, for example. You must have seen Jeopardy. You've never seen Jeopardy?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. I'll hum the theme tune.
All right. Cool.
So the theme tune goes. Da, 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 da. So this is where we roll the dice. Da, 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 da. It's number 6. So now we go to the Clay list and we pick number 6. And then we go back to our browser and we put that into our browser. And this is going to be interesting because we are Apple users, aren't we? So today's video, Apple's award-winning strategy for marketing, brand marketing. This is on the channel ThoughtCatalysts. It's had 183,000 views. The channel has had 3.07 million views. So where are you on the whole Apple marketing thing? What kind of bias are you bringing to this reaction?
Have I thought about their marketing? I always not struggle. We've done some of these before, and it's been great for me because I pull out what are the big boys doing that I can apply to my business and help clients with their businesses. I have a Mac. We know we've just struggled to get this system to work and gone into what am I on Safari when I'm usually using Chrome, which doesn't mean a lot to me. But I've had an iPhone since the beginning of iPhones. We've talked about branding before. I love this story, and obviously Steve Jobs' personal story as well sort of brings me to tears, and it just helps me question the whole of life and what's going on. Whatever they've done, they're just phenomenal. And those guys, in the same with a lot of the other big tech businesses, people that innovate like this just blow my mind with how you come up with something like this. But also I gather they turned it around really quickly, which also intrigues me.
Yes, it really intrigues
especially
me as well.
To go global.
Yes. I mean, where I am a Mac user. I use Apple computers. I use Google phones because a client convinced me that iPhones were mum's phones, and I just made a note then I needed to stop using mum's phones. So that's where I am. And it was interesting to note that Steve Jobs, when he came back to Apple, was 21 years old. So I was reminded of that today. So this goes back, or the Steve Jobs story goes all the way back to a very interesting time where innovation was happening in a way that I don't think it's been happening since. So I am an Apple fan, computers rather than phones. I think Microsoft are the Antichrist, so that's some effect that the whole brand war has had on me. Shall we have a look and see what they're talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So Apple's award-winning strategy for marketing.
After years of dominating the technology market, Apple has become synonymous with the words brilliant, creative, and innovative. Apple is one of the greatest marketers.
Sorry, has it become synonymous with the words brilliant, creative, and innovative? I would say creative, maybe.
got to be innovative as well, hasn't it? Develop the iPod, the iPhone. I just remember seeing somewhere Steve Jobs talking. I don't know where it was, talking about, I'm going to put all of the music in your pocket. Didn't he say that to his daughter or something? I mean, man,
Yes.
is that innovative? And what a vision! And what was the other one? Creative. Yeah, of course. I guess now it's even more difficult. At the beginning, if you come up with an idea and if you can take it globally, then were they at the cutting edge at the beginning? What were the three words? Creative, I think so. Innovative, yeah.
Brilliant, creative, and innovative. I don't know if I'm trying to think what the brand is for Apple these days. I think they get into trouble now a little bit because the phones aren't necessarily transforming in the way that people would like. The computers have recently, haven't they? They've brought out their own silicon, so there's been a big step change there. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too picky too early, but those aren't the words that necessarily I equate with Apple right now. Okay, let's see.
Of all time, with the iPhone becoming arguably the most popular and recognizable smartphone in the world. Apple's consistent marketing excellence is built on a series of core values, which others would benefit from learning from and applying to themselves. Apple has mastered the art of being ahead of its competitors. One of the primary reasons why they're able to be leaders in the industry rather than a follower is their amazing ability to innovate and keep things fresh. With every release, there is always some new technological advancement that strives to push the industry forward. Whether it's a new chipset allowing their products to be more powerful, or the wireless AirPods that have become ubiquitous around the world. Apple's dedication to the customer experience.
Okay, so in fairness, I've just checked. This is 2 years old, this video, so maybe it's not the most up-to-date. I don't think they are the most advanced. I think brands like Samsung typically push things a bit harder in terms of bringing in new technology. There's a whole load of disruptors around phones like Xiaomi and Huawei, who I think you'd have to describe as more innovative these days. But this is 2 years old, so maybe they weren't being tarred with that brush of not being innovative enough all that time ago. Am I being too harsh?
I don't know. It's your opinion, isn't it? And we've talked about perceptions, and we talked about previously how brands form your beliefs. Someone told you the iPhone is a mum's phone, and you took that on board. Wow. But also, this topic is its marketing strategy. I don't know enough about the others, but I've never looked. I just use what I use, and I know there's a big bunch of us that will just replace the old one with a new one because we're used to it. I don't want to, even though I know deep down it wouldn't take long to get used to the functionality of another phone. So I bought another iPhone. But I want to look at their marketing. I want to understand what it said about their marketing.
Because I think the marketing is entirely an exercise in brand rather than product, especially recently. Like clearly Steve Jobs was driving the iPad, the iPod, the first laptop, the first home computer, all these things. But I think more recently it's more about the brand than it is the product. And there's two things that have gone on. Like someone at some point has convinced me that Microsoft are the Antichrist, and somebody also convinced me that iPhones are mum's phones, So this is brand level, like consciousness level stuff that's going on, I think. I'll shut up. We'll watch some more because you're more interested in this than you are in me. You don't even have to disguise it, Andy Gwynn.
Experience and their ecosystem of products is the key reason why people flock to Apple stores and line up for hours just to get their hands on the new release. The importance of a first impression cannot be underestimated. Much like in person, the fact is that you make a judgment about something in approximately 4 seconds. And this is finalized largely within 30 seconds of initial contact. Apple knows this, ensuring that they mastered the art of minimalism. Product aesthetics, user interfaces, the brand logo, support functions, and even advertising are stripped down to the fundamentals. Apple's obsession with minimalism isn't solely about aesthetics. Rather, it's a crucial piece of their overall business strategy within the Apple ecosystem. Every component of this minimalist network is designed with related components in mind. The Apple TV interface isn't too different from that of Apple Music, whilst Apple Music itself borrows from the basic feel of Apple's operating system. Meanwhile, the gadgets also take up the same sort of family feel. The iMac, MacBook Pro, iPad, and iPhone They're all radically different devices, but they're immediately recognizable as cousins, thanks to their shared detailing and material palette. This highly integrated, minimal aesthetic is priming you to enjoy Apple's other products, ensuring that when the new iPad is released, you already know how it works and that it will fit within your own personal home environment. When Apple brought out their first iPod back in 2001, the response from the press was apathetic. MP3 players were already around, and this new release was nothing new. In fact, most MP3 players were actually better than the first iPod.
I don't remember the press being apathetic.
I'm not a big techie. I think I said on one of our other sessions that I've got literally in the last couple of months a new iPhone 14. It's a year old because I've got a mate who's my techie advisor. He swaps his every year.
Yes.
I don't remember the iPod in 2001 because I was employed and we just weren't that technically up to date. I remember when I set up my business, I remember in 2003, I remember getting one of the first iPods and it blew my mind. And I've just looked at that iPad or whatever where it's just showing digitally all the icons or apps at the bottom. What we're looking at their marketing strategy, what blew my mind and reminded me is what they said right at the beginning, that you have 4 seconds people make a decision. And I'm immediately going, I think I said to you just before we came on air, one of the things I'm doing this week and over this month is massively rejigging my webinar that I use for sales for one of my membership clubs. I also work with clients, helping them on their webinars. I can take the same thing because I've just been studying with someone and I've just gone, how do I apply that to the first 4 seconds in my webinar, in my posts, in my marketing, in my headline? We know headlines are powerful. I used to have a process with some colleagues called the rule of threes. Said you've got 3 seconds to earn the right to make an impression to earn the next 3 minutes, to then earn the next 30 minutes. So that could be 3 seconds of a headline, an opening telephone call, to earn the 3 minutes to explain what's in it, to earn the next 30 minutes where you got the conversation. We apply the same to webinars or seminars, apply the same to your email marketing. So that's just reminded me to go and look at my webinars, my posts, my direct messages and go, am I getting that? And then what did it say? You've got 30 seconds. So it's the rule of threes for me, but he said 4 seconds and 25 or something. But 3 seconds to earn the next 30 seconds, to earn the next 3 minutes, to earn the next 30 minutes, to earn the next 3 hours, depending what your process is.
Okay, good. All right. You're keeping us on track. We're supposed to be looking for things to take away from this. And I'm being a bit critical about their perception of the way things happened when they probably weren't born.
Other big thing is it said how minimalist it was. And
yes,
you're right. Years ago, I got told, you got to have a Mac, you got to have a Mac. And when my, whatever it was, laptop fell over, I bought the Mac and I just went, we questioned the word brilliant before. No, I thought it was brilliant. And I still look at my MacBook Air now and it's out of date. It's 7 years old and it's big, but it's still slim and thin for me. And I'm going, how can I minimize? I know that I have a mantra, less is more. It's the definition of leverage. How can I leverage my marketing? How can I get more results with less effort, with less emails, with less whatever? Less is more. And their products are. So again, I'm going, how can I streamline the onboarding of my clients so that we're doing less is more? And again, I'm going through this process in my business, working with someone that we were talking about, was how can I get them more information, but with less? So actually, how can I streamline my onboarding documents and maybe put it up into Google Docs, maybe put them onto a Slack channel instead of WhatsApp that's noisy and I'm losing the groups? How can I get better comms with less effort and less clutter? And if they're doing that in their marketing, which he said, that's where I need to be looking, but they absolutely do it in their products.
100%.
I still think this big MacBook Air is brilliant because it's slim. I can carry it in my laptop, in my rucksack when I'm traveling. And it's still too big now because they're getting better and better. And I think that principle of minimalism, we should be applying it throughout our business and our lives, and especially in our marketing.
100%. Less is more, 100%. If you are in a position to do so, I would seriously consider upgrading your MacBook Air because the new MacBook Airs with the new silicons are just astounding. They are just ridiculously good. Seriously. I was looking at buying a PC and then I read that before I realized they brought out this new silicon. It flies. It absolutely flies. It's amazing. Okay, good. So maybe this is going to end up with you visiting the Apple store. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Okay, cool. Let's go. I'll be less critical. I'll be looking more for the lessons rather than the factual accuracies or it aligning with my perception of what went on. Let's see.
They had larger storage space, replaceable batteries, and they were cheaper. So, what did Apple's new iPod have to offer that other...
No, I'm sorry. This is what I want to say. They were also shit, those MP4 players. Like, the iPod came through and absolutely blew it away. I mean, we were contending with, because I had MP3 players, and I had an MP3 player when I used to go out and ride my mountain bike on the Downs, on the South Downs, and it had like 3 albums on it. Do you know what I mean? This thing came through with gigs of space, amazing usability. You know, it wasn't... This was innovative. This was when Apple were innovative. And you do remember, because you say about Steve Jobs saying, I want all my music in my pocket. You know, that was the innovation.
And this, I think this is then the lesson, because I've said to you, right now is a great time for me because I'm revamping so much of my offering. I'm studying with a few people. And one of the things I've just read again was, what is the real pain? What is the passion that you really believe you're best at? And I've questioned this for 2 decades, you know, what, not just the reason why, but what's the distinction in my business? I know I'm unique in some ways, but how do I communicate that across? And it's about, we know what are people's pain. You've got to talk to them about that. And then what are the solutions they can get? And what I've realized, I've sat down, I've looked at what, and I've gone through, what is it I say to people? What is it I say to myself? Fundamentally, and I've got a slide in one of my webinars that people's biggest challenge is learning how to market and sell in their business. Most SMEs, private business owners, they did not go into business to learn to market and sell. And you've got to sort of innovate. And yes, they innovated the product and went like you, they blew you away. They've gone more storage. But what is it you can innovate to blow people or hook people in the message that you're saying? So my message is all around people don't know how to market and sell. Therefore, can I show them a way? And is my way any different to some people's? No, we've all got competition. But is it different in the way I communicate it so that they see it as being different? Yes. I don't have a tangible product. I have a service.
Yes. And I think the interesting thing then is, like, I'm on a similar mission, apart from I'm not looking to do it with clients. You know, I want to communicate to people that marketing is much more accessible and achievable than you think. And it's a great deal of fun to get it done. Do you know what I mean? If you can cut through all of the BS and actually do it effectively, it's going to make the difference between being successful or otherwise. That's kind of my mission. Yeah, sorry?
No, I agree.
You're not. I mean, I'm remembering now, like, because I think Apple, because I do want to understand it, I think Apple was amazing products. I remember the day I got my first MacBook. I did like an unboxing. It was 2008, before unboxings were a thing. It was to the tune of Perfect Day. Is it Perfect Day by Lou Reed? Such a Perfect Day? What's that song called? Anyway, I was astounded. So what happened is I got this thing at 10 o'clock in the morning. I was delivering a course at 7 o'clock that evening. And I had never in my life on a Microsoft computer got a deck that was finished. You know, it was never. I was always fighting with it, trying to get things right. Like if I managed to get all the content in it, then I wouldn't get all the I'd never actually stood up in front of a finished PowerPoint ever in my life. And so I get this thing at like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, well, I need to import my PowerPoint into here because I'm delivering at 7 o'clock. And then by 10:30 it was done. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I should like see if I can fix up some of the formatting on this stuff. And by 11:30, that was done. And now, like 7 hours before I even have to stand up and deliver, I've got actually, for the first time in my life, a completed deck. So now I'm thinking, okay, well now I can start thinking about anything else that I might want to say or any way else that I might want to communicate something. So I think historically, Apple products were amazing. That's what I think. So the product, I think, is key here. But the thing for me now is Apple is about the brand. It's about you not even considering another phone, you know, or me. I considered for a second, for the first time in 14 years, another computer. There is only one other option. It's as shit as it was when I stopped using it in 2008. So it wasn't a very long consideration. I think it's interesting like that.
And again, if we're looking at the lessons about marketing, I've for a long time questioned Apple are innovating products. You've just talked about the product, but here's the thing, and I've just got this from a great guy called Jason Fladley, who's a master. His book is One to Many. He's the $100 million webinar guy, teaching people webinars. And he often talks about in your headline and your stuff using the word easy, because he takes you through what are people's fears, what are their objections to buying. And pretty much if you sit down, anyone listening to this and list them, probably in your top three, there's three similar ones. You might have a bunch, you might have some others, but it's the same ones over and over again, isn't it? Can I do it? Have I got the time? Have I got the money? And he uses the word easy in his headlines. And what was it you just said? I put this together in an hour and a half, then another hour. It was easy for you. So even though I'm selling a service, what this reinforces to me is what I've been focusing on in just the last few weeks, is how can I make my onboarding with my clients easy, and how can I tell them at marketing level and sales level that this is easy. I've just taken on a new client yesterday, and he was concerned. I knew he was, and we brought it out into the open, and I said, look, here's the first three things we'll do, and then I will take you step by step through it, because for me it is easy and I can show you how easy it is. And he was very, very detailed, very scared. He said yes. So actually they're making their products easy. I need to make my service easy, and not just at delivery, but at onboarding as well as through delivery. I can make the delivery easy for you because I do a lot of that for my clients. I automate it for them. That's the business. But how can I make it easier for them in the onboarding, and easier to understand that this is the easy solution? So the word easy, you said it without saying it. That's what
I said it without saying it. But what I'm saying is that it's just a much more effective tool. It's a much more effective way of getting it done. I had a brilliant conversation with a guy called Simon Bowen. He has a models method. He draws things in his pitches and stuff. It's really cool. And he was talking about the psychology of selling. And his thing was that everybody wants to be safe and everybody wants to win. So if you can convey that in your sales messages, then I mean, that really resonates with me. Everybody. And then what you're saying, the easiness for me is about removing any obstacles or any resistance to make it easy for people to make that decision, Good. We're doing what we always do, aren't we? We're getting the synapses sparking. That's what's going on. Okay, cool. Shall we carry on with this? We've only seen 3 minutes and 25 seconds of it so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their MP3 players didn't. The iPod looked cool. It had a sleek aluminium shell half the size of its competitors, and a scroll wheel that could zoom through the trademark 1,000 songs in your pocket. This easy-to-use, sleek iPod made the entire process from downloading your favorite song to the listening experience a simple and enjoyable experience. Apple has a legendary focus on customer experience. Every customer touchpoint, from the products through the user experience, and even the retail store, yields a consistent Apple experience. This clean, seamless, just works mantra ensures that every layer of the ecosystem works straight out the box, providing a logical experience that makes the user's life easier and more enjoyable. Apple's consumer base buys into their ecosystem, expecting a high-quality, polished experience from start to finish. When pairing this high-quality experience with Apple's aggressive expansion into every facet of our lives, it's no surprise that their products, apps, and technology have...
I'm sorry. I really feel like this video is missing it a little bit. Because all of this is possibly true. My experience of their customer service hasn't been so great recently. What it's not addressing is the absolute fanaticism. There was a time in my life where I would read the football pages in the newspaper, and then I would read the Apple Rumors web pages, every day, while I'm having breakfast, getting ready for work. Do you know? So what they're not getting to, I think, is something that we've covered before, which is the emotion of it. So they're nice products. they're good products, how on earth have they got to this absolute fanaticism where people will queue up outside for days to get a product which I think is universally accepted is nothing like as innovative as it used to be? You know, so what is that psychological switch that they've got triggered in people's minds? You know, I think that's more, when I think about Apple and marketing, that's what I'm interested in, is that absolute fanaticism. I will not look or even consider another product because I am so in love with this product. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, are they saying it that their whole ethos is that it's easy? I think they quoted the tagline, which I've not heard before, but everything is slim, everything is easy, everything is clean, everything is sort of metal and clean, and right down to the stores. So I'm always looking at this as to how can I apply this in my small business, and
Yes.
it's about being consistent. And there's a word we hear a lot. Yeah, and I don't know how they rolled it out globally. Are they innovating? I don't know how much of their users are into tech like you seem to be. But I've just had a good experience in an Apple shop, but I went with my tech guy who's extremely techy. He went in to get a problem of his own solved. And I said, did it work? He said, yeah. And I was impressed that a sales kid behind a counter in a retail shop, because I've got an opinion about retail sales. Are they good? There's lots of them. And my mate was impressed. So they've got this clean, easy, helpful. The products are easy, light, simple. Like you said, how much more innovation have they generated that I'm aware of? I don't know.
No.
But they've got this consistency. That's the other word to take from this, I think.
Oh, 100%. And brand is a lot about consistency. And it might be that they've just done this forever, consistently, and that's how they've got to the place they've got to in their hardcore customers' minds. So if I've just searched Apple's value proposition, they say Apple's value proposition is built thanks to its ecosystem. In short, Apple's implicit promise is to create a smooth experience as long as you are within Apple's ecosystem. This is what enabled Apple to become a multi-trillion-dollar company. And the thing is, I know this isn't what we're here to do, but it is what we're here to do, is they've told us about the iPod, but the iPod opened up a whole new channel of products for them, which was which eventually became the App Store. So initially it was the iTunes Store. So now all of a sudden Apple are in the business of selling music. Do you know what I mean? And they never had been previously. And none of their competition went into that in the same way until Google Play came along, whenever that was, 5 or 6 years later. So I think there's much more to the marketing than they're telling us in this video. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and we're talking about marketing, but I'm also thinking of business strategy and business ideas. And actually what they did then, they were open to diversifying, weren't they?
Yes.
And you know me, I have a business partner with some incredible software automation to help us with our LinkedIn outreach. Well, years ago, we were selling that to other users. And then we reached a point and my business partner said, we're actually not software salespeople. We are marketeers. We are helping people generate results in marketing. And we switched our focus from selling software effectively to actually delivering marketing activity for people. So it's being open-minded to not just necessarily innovating, because for me, in my mind, that means I've sat down and thought of something. Maybe they thought of the iPod, maybe that whatever, but actually being open to, it was back to what did our customers and audience want, but being open to not create, they created something absolutely separate but intertwined, wasn't it? It was like, how the heck does your mind go from selling iPods or computers to, like you say, not just selling music, but apps? So it's being open-minded as well, because I see so many people struggle because they're doing the same old, or the other extreme, everything in life's a balance. I had someone the other day said, oh yeah, I tried that, it didn't work. And I went, I've heard it for 20 years. I went, how many times have you done it? He said, once. And it's like, if I could reach through the screen and grab you, you've tried it once, you know, I guess.
You didn't try it.
Test, measure and adjust and tweak. So interesting. Come on, let's shoot through it and see what else.
Okay, let's shoot through it. I just think that this video isn't really doing a great service in communicating the huge power of Apple's marketing. I think it's much deeper than that. I think it's much deeper. I think it's much deeper than that. 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 I think it's much deeper t then they are letting us know.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
that's okay.
But
Let's fly through it.
I'm still getting some.
Oh yeah, me too.
Have become an integral part of our modern lives and routine. Apple's approach to the harmonious integration of external developers, manufacturers, and services with their own catalogue of products creates a thriving mesh of technology, creating a sort of ubiquitous computer all around us all the time. A key example of Apple's integration outside of their traditional devices is their integration seamlessly into the fitness industry. Wearables have become far more than a fashion accessory in recent years, with their ability to play your favorite high-energy playlist whilst also collecting valuable biometric data for those who are serious about their progress and development. This now vital bit of kit can play an essential role in your daily life, and is often the difference between lounging on the couch and finishing that 10K. When a piece of gear has this much influence on your life and routine, you'll be sure to place a lot of trust and belief in the product, further solidifying Apple into your daily life. Much like Louis Vuitton or Chanel, Apple is associated with high-quality, luxurious, and trendy products. To ensure that they maintain this image, Apple carries out a range of marketing practices to ensure that they look like the premium luxury company they claim to be. This brand identity is reflected in the pricing strategy of Apple, with all products undergoing fixed pricing. Due to Apple's unique market position and their ability to market their products through other channels, they can avoid dropping prices, a process that ensures they maintain that luxury goods appearance. This strategy also extends to the microcosm of Apple retailers, dealers, and resellers, where Apple implements a minimum advertised price. This sets a lower limit on the prices its resellers may advertise Apple's products, keeping prices relatively comparable to their own stores and with minimal wholesale discounts. This maintains the static high prices that Apple sets, distancing themselves from low-cost, inferior products. As we mentioned in our video talking about Tesla's marketing successes,
I had a customer once who was like a big reseller of Macs in the UK.
Having a small community of...
I think they were the third largest reseller of Apple products in the UK. And the margins for them were ridiculously small. Like, I think if they were selling a £2,000 computer, they'd be lucky to make 50 quid on it. So it was all of the... And even around the accessories and stuff, they would sell off-brand because that's the only way they could possibly make money. They made money. They had education services and, other things going on. But the margins on these machines were absolutely minuscule. They really were. So it's interesting. Fixed pricing, maybe. Not something I associate with Apple, though, necessarily.
Pricing strategy is interesting, isn't it? And I'm not. We're not going to talk about anyone listening to this becoming a wholesaler or reseller or whatever. I worked with a guy who was a Triumph motorcycle dealership. It was the same. His margins were low, but he could make more money on second-hand bikes on different brands. Triumph didn't like it, so they got rid of him as the thing, and he as the approved retailer, and he had to sell used. But I get that Apple are controlling the prices so that it's maintaining a premium. For me, what I'm taking from that is that they're selling a premium product. I've always been into high-end stuff. My business coaching has been high-end. I've worked with so many people. I believe they're undervaluing themselves, and there's all that psychology around that. I think what I would take from that is they don't discount, really.
Yes.
Yes, of course, there's a second-hand value. And I think that's the thing to be clear in your business, is to set your pricing and look at, we're now talking about sales. One thing I learned and taught for so long is add value rather than discount, and be clear on your pricing. If you're going to go premium price, you've got to rack and stack premium service. But, they've done it, and they've proved that you can. The smaller business owner, the amount of times I've heard from business owners, I can't. But also, human psychology is we're brought up to discount. What's the first thing someone asks? And we let's have another session another time on sales and pricing. But the first thing they ask is, what discount you can give me? What's the best price you can give me? So most salespeople are conditioned to react. Go, I'll give you this. So I think what I just take from this quickly is you can position yourself at premium brand. And actually, I think for most businesses, we need to. Because
100%.
whether you're an accountant, there's a million accountants, whether you're a designer, whatever it is you might be, whether you're a coach, whatever, there's lots of competition. So actually, and again, less is more.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and more is more when it comes to pricing. I mean, I did what the pricing strategy, and salespeople are the most price sensitive people on the planet. Customers don't care; they care about value. And I remember when I bought my first MacBook, because it was $2,000, and I said to Leo, who was selling me the thing from my customer, Leo, I've never spent £2,000 on a computer before. You're going to have to help me out. And he said, what I would like to remind you is that this is a premium product, and Apple do not discount. And I said, okay, thank you very, very much. I will take it. So it is.
And I think that also works for Apple and then the wholesalers. You said the wholesalers or retailers don't have a lot of margin, but if you know your manufacturer is not discounting, then you're right. Once I decide to buy a MacBook Air, what's the choice between buying from Leon or you? It's price. Well,
Yes.
if the price is the same because Apple ain't shifting, then it comes down to whether I like you more or you're going to give me a better service, a better rapport, or Leon. So actually that then puts you in a place to be able to sell to me better. And so they are in a way helping their wholesalers, even if there's not lots of margin in it, like you say.
Yeah, 100%. And 100%, this is definitely a premium product, compared to, I think you can buy these MacBooks now. I think they're at about, these Airs at about $800, but you can pick up a PC laptop for like 200 quid, so they are still a premium product.
And do you know what? It still grieves me to pay this money. I know I've talked to you about just buying a new phone lately, but actually it was a year old and it was off my mate who changes it every year. So I got it at 2/3 of the price of a new one. And I know him. I know it won't have been abused. And I'm going, it's only a year old. My other was 7 years old. Still grieves me to spend 1,200 quid on a phone or $2,000 on it. I've been looking at new MacBooks and I'm going, I could buy one for $300 quid, but I don't know it. And I don't know whether it's a Acer or whatever else it is. And I know that Mac works for me. And I know that if it's at that price, it must be good. And I've been using it, so it is good. So I will buy another one. So
the new MacBook Airs, I'm telling you, treat yourself. It will change your life. If you're sitting on a 7-year-old MacBook Air, treat yourself. It will change your life.
All right,
Let's get through this. They went out of business. They're not in the business of selling Macs anymore. Else I'd hook you up with my mate Leo.
If evangelists that support your brand through thick and thin is a vital step for brand longevity. They will support you during your hiccups and will push you through the other side. This group won't dare stray away from the Apple ecosystem, ensuring full integration and making sure that their friends and family are aware of its benefits. Marketing through word of mouth is a priceless marketing strategy for any business, and is hands down the most effective and reliable type of marketing. According to the Wharton School of Business, a customer you acquire from word of mouth has 16 to 25% higher lifetime value than those you acquire from other sources. Word of mouth will bring in loyal customers and increase customer retention rate. What's more, this highly valuable marketing strategy has no price attached. It's a side effect of the "it just works" high-quality product that Apple strives for. Competing in today's world can be tough. Being able to establish any kind of advantage can set you up for success over the competition. However, having a dedicated group that ensures your product is talked about in a good light, is shared on social media, and welcomes itself into everyone's life goes far beyond paying for adverts or product placement. Apple has continuously strived to create great products with a great experience attached to them. This dedication to the customer has paid off huge dividends, making Apple one of the biggest companies in the world. Apple is not just changing an industry, it's changing the world, reshaping it into a customer-focused economy and planting itself right in the middle of it. If you've enjoyed today's video, please click the like button.
Okay, good. All right, we made it to the end. You've got something you want to say. Now what?
Now that is the biggest lesson and thing to take away, isn't it, from the whole of that session? Because we're looking at marketing, and I'm looking at, okay, who's listening to this? It's the SME business owner, and I've been talking about me being service orientated as a coach, as a LinkedIn consultant, but actually who's listening out here with products. I used to sell safety footwear. The father and son, they were very focused on product innovation, but actually the biggest thing there was word of mouth. And I don't know whether it's 16 to 25% more. I think it would be even more, because that's why I bought Apple. That's why I might change, because you've just recommended the next. It was purely word of mouth. So that is one of the most underutilized strategies in private business, in the SME business world, is referrals. I've just taken on a client because I've got a guy who's a mate. I've coached him for 20 years. He's got one of the biggest property investor training businesses in the country. This is someone in the industry had spoken to him. He said, Andy's my go-to guy for LinkedIn. Referrals are the easiest to sell to, let alone will they stay longer. Will they give you more money? And then I ask people, first of all, if I ask any business, do you get word of mouth business? Yes. Do you find it the easiest to sell to? Yes. So what strategy do you have in place to ask consistently people for referrals? Oh, well, I haven't. Why the heck not? Because it can be free and easy. And when someone gives you a referral, send them something. Oh, we can talk about referrals on a whole new session. But actually, The one thing to take from this is, what's your referral strategy within your business? I talked about where most of our business came from. Hey, this is going to be good marketing. Let's play to the emotion of the whole of the people, all the people that are listening.
Hello, Andy.
Hola.
Okay, we're just finishing up. Say adios, amigo. Can you say adios, amigo? Okay.
Adios, amigo.
Done, yeah? Adios.
I think that's the thing to take away, is to look at what referral system, strategy, processes have you got in place in your business? Because that's where I bought Apple, and they're doing it. They're not even asking.
Yes.
So they've not only got advocates of their business, they got raving fans, because they don't even have to ask them for referrals, because word of mouth is happening. So where can you be asking people for referrals in your business?
And this is where referrals go to another level. Is like, speak to your customers. Like, the easiest way to double your business is to get each one of your customers to bring you a new customer. Like, hands down, the easiest way. Nobody does it. Nobody wants to ask for referrals. But beyond referrals is if you get to the customer centricity thing, where you get to a point where people cannot shut up about your products. So it's not like you have to wait or you have to prompt them. They can't shut up. This thing is so good. And I think where I am with Apple is, I was that fanboy. I was never outside a store for 3 days, but I was always keen to get the latest thing. And I've moved on from that. So the brand hasn't carried me with it necessarily, but it is about the quality of the products. The products for me, when compared, I mean, it's ridiculous that we've got to 2023 and the options are a Microsoft run PC or an Apple, or if you're a real geek, like something very different, Linux or something. You know, the products are far better. The experience is far better. And they have a whole raft of customers who cannot shut up about their products. And even though I'm telling you I've moved beyond that and I don't care anymore, I still think your life would be hugely improved if you went out and bought this new MacBook Air. I really think it would.
Yeah, you know? Right. And, I've already said yes. Yeah. when the customer says yes, shut up.
But you're not my customer, so that's fine.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, good.
I'll tell Apple that I came through referral from.
Okay, good. They won't care. They absolutely won't care. Okay, let's have a look very quickly about what they're saying in the comments. In fact, they're so good, they low-key got you advertising their products. That's 100% true. Watching this as a business student is so overwhelming that how much my field is important, big, and cool. That's what we want people to think about business and marketing. Yeah. Great video. Could you also make videos on how different companies, different strategies? They're so good they get you to buy the same product with less features for a higher price and then they convince you to buy a feature that was in their previous product for the same price separately. It's genius. I do feel it's a little bit like this. I'm not using the phones, but I do feel that the phones are not making the strides that they could be. I mean, I've seen that feedback, so that's good. But this is where I think this video has sold this a little bit short. Apple are in the psyche of their clients. They are in the psyche. You know, they're like you would not consider using another phone. I would not consider using another computer. I considered it for 30 seconds and I moved on, you know, and I probably won't consider it for another 13 years. This, for me, is the thing that's not offered in this video, but is the key takeaway, is how do you get into your client's psyche so that they are reliably only thinking of you when they think of LinkedIn, or if they're thinking of, I don't know, effective marketing, they are only thinking of you, and beyond that, not even considering that there might even possibly be an alternative. That is the genius of Apple's marketing, because I think the product has got less good, apart from the MacBooks are really good. The phones have got less good, but the passion for them and the uptake is, I mean, I don't know exactly what the uptake is, but the passion is still there, even though for me, the innovation in the products has gone down. That's the interesting question here, is how have they got to occupy that place in people's psyche?
So what's just come to my mind, I think, what is it we're taking, and I hope people listening to this are taking from the last however long. One, we've talked about referral marketing. We talked about making it easy. So I talked about making it easy in my induction process, not just in the product and the use of the product, but it could be your service, and I'm very much talking about service. But you've just talked about they're in your psyche. Well, I'm on a MacBook Air now. We know it's old, but I'm looking at it. It's got MacBook Air written on it. There's the Apple logo all over the place. There's the, what do you call them? The apps at the bottom. I've got iTunes. I've got Apple Store. So it's there in my eyes and mind all of the time. Now, okay, they've sold me a product that I'm using a lot of the time of the day. But then I'm going, okay, so how can I be in the minds of my clients? We know marketing's getting in the face and minds of your prospects. So I'm looking at my service, and I deliver on LinkedIn activity. And if I'm not careful, I've got clients that will just respond and they see what's coming in, but they don't stop to necessarily measure and really appreciate the other results they get from outside of the core results. Like a dartboard, I can get you the bullseye, but you're going to score from what comes in from the 25 and the doubles and the triples and the others. So one of the things I'm doing now, especially with clients with webinars, is I'm saying, right, you've got to give me the results. We've got to have a meeting. You've got to sit and look at the results so that we can improve on them. But that way, it's feeding back to the client what they're getting from my business, from my service. And because it's not your client's job to buy from you. It's not your client's job to keep buying from you. It's your job to keep reminding them. And most people will sell and then not remind them. And I can deliver a service going, well, I'm delivering to them. Yeah, but they're not seeing a lot of it, because if you don't tell them, they don't see them. Apple's telling me. It's all over. It's all over what I'm looking at. So it's how can you be in the mind of your customer outside of your delivering. I used to sell safety footwear. If I sold someone a pair of boots, or a company 100 pairs of boots, how am I in their mind? Well, yeah, back then you'd knock the door, how's things, everything going. But what else can you do now? What else can you do now to show them the results? And yes, of course, we can go back to testimonials and stuff. But it's about how can you be in the mind of your client, I guess, daily or weekly, instead of just, and even if you're delivering them, I can say I deliver to my clients every day. And I've got clients I've been working with for 3 years. But the best and the worst one equally, best client I had stayed with me for 3 years till he sold his business. But he was the worst in a way, in that I wouldn't hear from him unless I forced the conversation. Yes. And I need to force the conversation because there's so much more I can show you and give you and show that you're leaving on the table and whatever. So I had to get him to commit to that. That's what come to mind with what you just said there.
Yeah. And I think those two things, I think that's something that I was good at in my business, is I was always collecting testimonials. So I was always getting that customer feedback. And if you don't get your customer to think about the value that you're delivering, it will never occur to them. You know, if you don't ask the question of them, it will never occur to them. And then, of course, they are subject to being bombarded by your competition. So, you know, so that's how you lose people. Okay, this has been really interesting and useful. I'm coming to the conclusion that we can't make a short one of these, you and I, Andy Gwynn, because we've gone for 55 minutes again. But it has got me thinking. I think this video has sold Apple short a little bit. I think there's some much more powerful stuff that's going on. But what they have done is covered the basics, which are going to be really interesting and useful for us if we're looking to be more successful in our business.
Because one of the comments was on there, It's not Apple who published that video on that site with however many
No.
million views they've had. So actually, they've done a great job, because somebody else, a third party, is showing their video as getting millions of views. Isn't that referral marketing without even bloody asking for it again? So actually,
Yeah, but then let's go to the next level. They've made that video. We've made this video. We're doing marketing for Apple. What I'm interested in is why, how have they got to that level in our psyches where we think it's appropriate to be running an hour-long ad for Apple on our channel, which is basically what we're doing.
Yeah, at a level. Hopefully what people have got from this is there's at least 2 or 3 key things, isn't there, that we've gone through that they can take away and use. Go make a difference and go put it into place in your business, those people that are listening, because there's some very simple reminders, if not principles there for you to take from what we've just seen.
And the principles for me are great product and customer centricity. And those 2 are the things. If you have the opportunity to do that in your business, that will make your business better every single time. And I don't know if it's always possible, but I think if you do have the opportunity, it will make your business better. It will make you happier. That's what I think. Okay, super cool. So we've got to the end. Anything else? One last final comment?
Just, if you've watched this far, just take something away and do it. I always say I don't care what people think about me. I care about what you go away and do. And there's so much inertia out there. It's easy not to. That's a fundamental psychological principle of human beings or human doings. Just go implement something from today and see what happens.
Yeah. And I would echo that statement. I would tell to people the secret of marketing is just go and do the work. It's much easier than you can imagine. It's much more fun than you can imagine. And it's the only way you're really going to get to be successful, more successful in your business. Okay, excellent. So we got to the end. So all we have to do now is thank anyone who's still with us. We hope you found it interesting and useful. If you have, now is the second best time to like, share, comment, subscribe, because that will give us the motivation to continue on this epic journey. And we will be here the next time you come through for some marketing inspiration. Thank you for taking the time to check out this episode of Reaction Time. If you found this interesting and useful, then YouTube thinks you are also going to enjoy this, and this is the latest thing that we've produced. If you haven't yet, and you could take a second to like, share, subscribe, and comment, then that would do us a whole load of good, and it will give us the motivation to continue on this epic journey.